going to be sharing with you in this video 5 ways to create the results that you're actually looking for. And a lot of times it's not going to be what you think that you're looking for. What you actually want might not be the thing that you think that you want. And so the first thing that I want to share with you in this video is just to remember that a lot of the times what I realized for me is that it's not even to have the thing that we're looking for, It's to be the person that already has the thing and already has the result. See, it's not a lot of times it's not about having the result. It's being the person that has the result, that has already achieved the result. The result really is not what you should be striving for, because the result is just something to have, I guess, and you get it and then you create it, but then you're always just going to want something more. And then so what's really to enjoy in that process if all you're looking for is just to get a result? That's having almost too much expectation out of life, is when you need to have a result in order to feel an inner state of peace. That to me doesn't really make sense. If you're depending on a result to feel an inner state of peace, then you've got it all backwards and you still haven't figured out the game. The game is not even to find to find the result and to get what you want. The game is to be happy with the process of being the person as you're creating the result, because there's always going to be more to create. There's always going to be more to create. There's never going to be a time where you're going to be and I know this sounds crazy to say, and I know this might sound, maybe this will trigger some people. I don't know how this is going to make you feel, but the truth is that no matter how much you create in your life, there's always going to be a desire for something more, and to create just a little bit more, and to have just, to have just a little bit more in every single area. Whatever you can create more of, how can it just be better? How can you become a better person? How can you improve? That's not so bad. That's just part of the excitement of being in the human existence, and being a part of the human existence is to remember that you can always be better. You can always strive for more. How can you create more? How can you improve upon your skill sets? How can you improve upon what you're creating in your life? How can you improve upon every single area of your life and to be a better person, and to just improve and to succeed even more success, more improvements in every single area? How can you do this? Well, that's all amazing stuff. But the truth is that at the same time, though, that's always going to be problematic to a certain degree, depending on the way that you look at it, simply because it's becoming the person that you're looking for. So if you want to create the results that you're actually looking for, what I mean by this is to start looking at what actions comprises of the identity that would already have what you want, and to simply act upon those on a daily basis, and just to be that person, just to do it every single day. And that's really powerful, because what I'm asking you to do here is to fall in love with that process. So that's that's really what I want to make so clear, is if you can't fall in love with that process, then you need to change your vision and change the result that you're striving towards, because clearly that's not actually what you want. If you get the result and you're happy for 2 seconds, but the whole process to creating what you want was not happy, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a huge problem, right? Because you spent so much time becoming this person and creating this thing and putting all this time, all this energy, and you didn't even enjoy the process. You were just looking for that one little moment of success. That's not the goal. That's not what the game is about. If you're going to see it as a game, and if you're going to see life as a play, see, life is just a play, and you're here just to act in the way that is exciting to you. Not saying that you need to fake it or anything. I'm not saying to be fake. Of course, authenticity is something you should lead by every single moment. But what I'm saying is that to some degree, life is an act, because you're choosing who you prefer to be moment to moment, and you can absolutely rewrite the whole story. But remember that if you're writing a story where the actions that are required of you to create that story into existence are not exciting to you, then you're going to have to rewrite the story. And you don't have to rewrite the story. You can keep that story along if you'd like, but the truth is that, are you going to be happy? Are you going to be happy with that story? So just remember that as you're going through experience, it's not really, the having of the result that you're really striving towards. Just remember, are you going to be happy with the being of that thing, the beingness that is required of you to have that thing? And just ask yourself, are you going to be happy with those actions that are required of you? And so the second thing that I want to share with you in this video is just to remember, and really I want to ask you a question, and that question is, who do you need to be? Who do you need to be to get the result that you want? How do you have to be? How do you have to act? What actions do, and it's not just about the actions, it's also like just who are you deciding to be? What choice are you making to be? What's the choice in your mind? What identity do you need to fully embody to get that result that you're looking for? Who do you have to decide to be? Because you should be able to put a label on that role, whatever that role is, because I think we're all signing up for roles, and we're all playing an act, whether we realize it or not. And when I say act, I do feel that some people might perceive this as maybe to be, like I said, fake, but it's not about faking anything. It's about remembering that no matter what, whether we realize it or not, we're going to be signing up and playing roles in our life. We're going to be playing roles, and we're going to be acting in accordance to the roles that we're playing. Whether we signed up for those roles consciously or unconsciously, it doesn't really make a difference, because either way, we're gonna be playing those roles. And what I mean is, like, you're gonna go through your day, you're gonna act in accordance to this role, and my question is, wouldn't you rather also sign up for that role consciously and on purpose, rather than signing up and playing a character that you never wanted to play? If you're gonna play a character in life, no matter what, wouldn't it be more exciting to at least play the character that you actually signed up for, that actually excites you? Because you're not required to play any character that doesn't excite you, that's not exciting to you, that's not gonna fulfill you and make you feel like you're living a life of meaning and purpose. But meaning and purpose is created not from out there, but meaning and purpose is created from within yourself. Meaning and purpose is created from within you. So if you want to feel like you're living a life of meaning, you have to be happy with the role that you're signing up for and who you need to be. So who do you actually need to be? The second way to create what you want is just to think about who you have to be, and just really become conscious of that whole thing that you would have to be. Just put it on a list. Make sure you're able to, I would encourage you to be able to just simply put a how do I say it, like a label on it, some kind of label and description of what it is. If you're not able to explicitly articulate who you have to be, call it something and put a label on it, then it's almost like, how can you really step into it if you're not clear on that? Who do you have to be? Become clear on that, and then it goes back to the first point. Then you can become conscious of if you're going to be happy with that, if you're going to be okay with that. Are you okay with who you need to be? But first, become clear on who you need to be before you can even be happy with it at all. Is what I'm encouraging you to do. So the third thing that I want to share with you in this video, just before I keep digressing here, is just to remember that what is really important for me personally, and this is something that I've noticed is very, very powerful. I had to come to this realization because I don't really want to live life any other way once I realized this. I personally, and I would invite you to do the same, if you want to, get the results you're actually looking for, is honestly to remember that if you want to feel peaceful 20 years from now, or 15 years from now, later in your life, you're gonna have to figure out, how can you feel peaceful right now in this present moment? Because the present moment, of course, is the only moment that exists. The present moment is the only moment that exists. So if you want to feel happy later, you're going to have to decide to feel happy now, which means that there's no need to feel miserable right now to create a better future later. That's not necessary. That's never been necessary. I don't believe in that. I believe that we need to choose to be happy now so that we can be happy later, because later never comes, and later has never actually existed. Later is just a concept in our mind. Later has never actually existed. There's, of course, if the present moment is, of course, the only moment that exists, then wouldn't it make more sense to just simply choose peace right now, and then to be happy with who you're being in this present moment, with who you're being today, Remember, you don't need to be somebody that you dislike today to then feel better later, because when you feel better later, it's just going to be for 2 minutes. But again, you're not going to like who you've been being today. Who are you today? Are you happy with that? Are you okay with the person you're being? And when I say happy, do you feel peaceful? Do you feel calmness? Do you feel restful? Because I don't think life is about not feeling restful. I'm not saying that you shouldn't sweat and that you shouldn't put in the work and that you shouldn't be consistent even if you don't feel like it sometimes. Because sometimes it's not about how you feel, it's about taking action to then feel better afterwards. And I think that's an amazing perspective. But remember that even through all of that, why should you sacrifice restfulness? Restfulness, why should you feel in a state of dis-ease? A state of dis-ease because you want something so bad. That's not how it should be, in my opinion, right? You shouldn't want something so bad that you choose to not feel good now to then feel better later. And don't get me wrong, like I said, if you need to go do something like get a job or go work or go do something that you don't like, that's part of life sometimes. But remember, how can you enjoy feeling good now so that you don't need to feel better later after? You need to be able to enjoy what you're doing to some degree and start to find ways to see it in that way, because you can't be miserable to feel better later. That's not what life is about. I don't think that life is about feeling miserable today to feel better later. That's just not how it works, because remember, later doesn't exist. It's a concept. So I would invite you to remember, how can you start feeling better in your life today? How can you start being the person that you really want to see yourself be today? And how can you feel excited about the person that you're embodying today? Not later, but actually today. How can you start to feel happy with yourself on a moment-to-moment basis and to actually be that person that you say that you want to be? And so the fourth thing that I want to share with you, the fourth way to create the results that you're actually looking for, not what you think that you want, is to remember that you really want to be 100% committed to who you say you are, to who you say you want to be. Give 100% commitment to who you're being and to who you are in that moment. 100% commitment to who you are in that moment is what you're going to want to do and need to do. If you don't need to do anything, but if you want to create the result, then you're going to need to do it, is what you're going to have to embody to get the result that you're looking for. It's about 100% commitment. When I say 100% commitment, I don't mean 99 or 50% or 20%. I mean full commitment. I mean that you're going to have that vision on your mind's eye with full commitment and full devotion. And yes, you're going to have challenges. Yes, you're going to maybe even sometimes forget about that vision by accident. Sometimes you're going to forget about, you're going to get lost. Life is going to pull you. You're going to forget the importance of what you really care about. It's going to happen sometimes. You're going to forget about what you really want and what you really want to see happen in your life. You shouldn't. You should never forget what you want. But if it happens, you need to forgive yourself and get back into what you care about. Get back into your values. Get back into what you care about. Get back into alignment with who you really want to be, because this is not a joke. This is not a joke. What's going to happen is that if you don't give 100% commitment to who you are and you let yourself slide and forget into a state of forgetfulness and delusion and not being committed and not being 100% fully committed every single moment to what you want, what that's going to do is that's going to lead to half results. Like, that's just the truth. If you're giving a 50% effort, don't expect 100% results. And of course, we've all heard the principle of put in 20% of the results, 20% of the effort for 80% of the results. We've all heard the 80-20 rule. I understand that. But at the same time though, even if you're going to get 80% of the results from 20% of the effort, hey, listen, even if you're, hear me out for a second, even if that is the case, that doesn't mean that you should be putting in 20% effort moment to moment. That's unacceptable. You should be putting in 100% commitment and devotion towards your goal, and you should never forget what you want. You should never forget your desire and your goal. But if it happens, you have to again forgive yourself and get back onto course and get back onto what you want to create. So you need to be 100% committed to who you're being and who you decide to be and what your goal is and what you want to create in your life. Not 50%. You can't give half effort. You have to give full effort. Even if you're going to build your life upon leverage and leverage your skill sets and try to put in as little work as possible to get the most results, which I would encourage you to do that 100%. Even with that being the case, you should still be giving 100% commitment to each present moment towards your goal. And you should be giving life 100% commitment, because life is limited, and life, I'm not gonna say life is too short, but life is limited. Life is, in some degrees, it's limited. It's not 100% unlimited. Time is limited, for example. And I don't want to talk about these things because it makes people sad. But the truth is that you need to be giving life 100% commitment, because don't take anything for granted. Nothing is going to be guaranteed in your life. Nothing should be taken for granted. And I know that sounds really sad to say it like that, but I think that we need to remind ourselves that nothing is granted. If you give 100% commitment to it, you're probably going to get it. Don't get me wrong. You're probably going to be able to create what you want. You're most likely going to be able to create what you want. In fact, there's a very high chance, a very high probability that you're going to be able to create what you want. If you have the right support systems, if you're fully committed, if you have the right communication and you tell people in the right way and you don't tell people the things you don't need to tell them because you got to keep some things to yourself, that's okay, right? That's okay as well. If you have the right support systems, if you have the right boundaries, if you have all the things that are in check, if you give full commitment to what you want, you're probably going to be able to create what you want. But just don't take that for granted, and don't let that mean that you're putting in half effort towards your goal because you think that, oh yeah, I'm just going to get it no matter what. And that's just, don't be that arrogant, in my opinion. Don't be so arrogant that you now forget the humbleness of just remembering that nothing is granted at the very core and the very essence of life, and that everything can be taken away from you in an instant. If you're not grateful enough, if you don't take something with full appreciation and full presence, life can very quickly show you that you don't deserve to have it and take it away from you because you don't believe you deserve to have it, because you're getting so emotional about it, which shows you that you're not ready to just maintain it. You're not ready just to maintain it, which leads me to the final thing in this video, which is just to remember that actually, I really do believe that, the fifth way to create the results that you're actually looking for in your life, that you really want to see happen in your life, and it's not what you think, is just to remember that, 90% of this whole journey is just maintenance. Maintenance, I think, is 90% of your journey to success. Because just remember that creating what you want, in my personal humble opinion, and I don't mean that in any type of way, just in my personal opinion, and I really do mean this, is that creating what you want is not that difficult. And again, don't take anything for granted. Nothing is guaranteed, but it's not going to be that hard to create what you want if you're fully committed. Just be honest with yourself. You know what actions you have to take. You know what you have to do to get a result in your life that you're looking for. If there's anything you want, I'm gonna be willing to bet most of the time that you know exactly what actions you need to take. You don't even need to reach out to a mentor. You don't need to watch any more videos. You don't need to read any more books. You don't need to do any more Google searches. You know what you have to do to get the results you're looking for if you're honest with yourself. But the question is, are you willing to not just get the result, but then also maintain it as well? To maintain the results that you're looking for. Are you willing to actually maintain the results and then to be that for some type of time, for a long period of time? To not just create what you want, but then to be that person for the upcoming years, for many years to come. Because you could easily achieve a certain result, but then not be able to maintain it and lose it very, very quickly if you're not able to maintain the same skill sets and the actions and the behaviors that allowed you to get the result in the first place. See, this is why 90% of lottery winners, I believe, lose their winnings within the first year, because they don't have the actions and the behaviors to be able to maintain that level of financial freedom and the skill sets that come with having that level of financial freedom, because they think like, oh yeah, I just have it. They take it for granted. Say, oh, I just won. I'm good now. I take it for granted. They get too emotional. They overspend, and then they lose all their money. I'm not here to tell you that's the truth, but I think that's possibly could be the case, right? What if that is the case? Let's be open to that possibility that maybe if we remember that the behaviors are 90% of the success, and that the maintenance of those behaviors is 90% of success, and showing up as that person is 90% of success. I think that 90% of success, over 90 possibly, is just showing up as that person. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have problems. You're going to have challenges. Things are not going to happen perfectly as you wanted them to happen. But if you're just simply able to show up anyways, just show up as that person and to maintain that identity and that person, that way of being on a consistent basis, even through the challenges and the errors and the unknowns, and that maybe you're not too sure about that, and you don't know if you did the right thing, and that you don't know if you're doing the right person, that I don't know if I did that correctly, and that maybe I didn't do it right, and that maybe it's like you drop all of that and you just be that person that you have to be to get the result day in, day out. Just be who you need to be. And if you're okay with that, and if you're okay with the process and you're enjoying and you're truly joyful in that process, you're probably going to be able to create what you want. But just remember, don't take it for granted. And then as well, remember in the back of your mind that maintenance is going to be a huge part of that. A huge part of being able to create what you want. And I would not underestimate the significance of what I'm communicating here, simply because creating what you want, you could be able to get there. But you can, remember, lose it if you don't maintain it. So once you get what you want, I would encourage you just to be willing to just maintain that. You don't need to overachieve for a little bit. Be okay with the maintenance and be happy with where you've gotten. Take a breather sometimes and be happy with what you've achieved in your life. Be okay with what you've gotten and be happy with that. And of course, improve, but don't improve so much that it's going to make you go backwards, and then now you're not improving anymore and you've now digressed. Don't let an improvement make you go back and then digress. Let an improvement be there and then maintain that for some time, and then improve just a little bit more, and then maintain that just for some time, and then improve just a little bit more, and then maintain that for some time, and then improve just a little bit more again, and then do that, and then slowly but surely you're creating amazing results in your life, and you're enjoying the process as well, because you're enjoying the person that you're being while you're creating what you want. And that, I think, is success. I think success is learning to love and be joyful with the process of creating what you want, where you love what you're being, not striving for a result that's going to make you happy